Welcome in, one and all, to another episode of the Sandlot Baseball League 2025 season. Yes, we are in the year 2026, but this league was started at the tail end, and we are here in Week 4, game number 3, so the last game of this slate before we head into the last week of the first leg of the season. And this will feature two 1-2 teams as we see the Strikeouts take on the Shiny Squad. This is a really important matchup for both teams as most of the league is 2-2, aside from one team being 3-1. So let's head on over for the starting lineups first for the visiting Strikeouts. Leading off in center field, Mike Trout. The shortstop, Cal Ripken Jr. Batting third, the Gold Glover, Yadier Molina. In left field, batting fourth, Colton Cowser. Batting fifth, playing first, Bryce Harper. At third base, batting sixth, Donovan Solano. In right field, batting seventh, Michael Toglia. The DH for today for the Strikeouts is Nicky Lopez. And batting ninth, your second baseman, Mike Gallego. And for the Shiny Squad, they will be having center fielder Rajai Davis leading off. At second base, Jerry Coleman. Batting third, Ozzie Smith. The catcher, the Gold Glover, Benito Santiago. The DH batting fifth, Bobby Bonilla. At first base, batting sixth, Paul Konerko. Batting seventh, playing left field, Willie Wilson. At third base, Willie Bloomquist. And in right field, batting ninth, Dave Martinez. I don't think the Shiny Squad have really faced a right-handed pitcher so far this year, which is actually kind of crazy. And as we look at the starting pitchers, first up for the visiting Strikeouts, they will have Yusei Kikuchi, 6 innings, 3 defense, only 16 outs, but a big 6 command the lefty has. So against righties and switch hitters, he will have 6. And against left-handers, he will have a 7 command, a 1-2 mistake pitch range. And on the flip side, we have Mitch Keller, 0 defense, 6 innings of pitching, 17 outs, and a 5 all around. So no bonuses for right-handers or switch hitters for Mitch Keller, and also a 1-2 X range. Honestly, some pretty decent SP4s in this matchup, and both of these teams could really use their starters to go the distance, as the bullpens are not super great and they are a bit depleted. So let's head on over to the field as these teams begin their warm-ups. The visiting Strikeouts are 1-2 on the season. They dropped their first 2 games of the year as they lost to the Base Bandits in 11 innings. They would lose 6-1 against the Bash Bros in Week 2. Then in Week 3, they beat the dangerous Broad Street Bats to improve to 1-2. And for the Shiny Squad, they lost to the Bash Bros 4-2 in Week 1. In Week 2, they beat the Clean Cleats in extra innings 4-3. And then in Week 3, they lost in 9 innings to the Base Bandits. That was 7-5. I believe that was a 7-3 game, and it ended up being really close, and they just kind of dropped the ball towards the end. The Shiny Squad will be without Bruce Sutter, and they will have Drew Smiley be fatigued. The Strikeouts have 3 of their top 4 relievers all fatigued. So this is a very, very important game that these teams need not only to win, but going into their starting pitcher 5 matchup, they're going to need all the bullpen help that they can get. So let's get on over to the field as we see Mitch Keller take the mound. Against Mike Trout. Trout is very dangerous. Oops. So let's get ready as Mitch sorry about that. We are ready to play ball. This will be a 5 versus 13. As we look at the defenses, the strikeouts will have a 14 battery, 13 infield, 11 outfield, so one of the better units in the league. And for the Shiny Squad, their infield and outfield are both 12, so also very solid, but their battery for the beginning of this game, at least while Keller is in, is only a 10. 5 versus 13. And Keller's pitch will be a mistake pitch to lead things off, and Mike Trout will get the ability to roll with the red power die. Still haven't decided if we like this. I think it's kind of cool to see it in action. And Mike Trout hits a deep fly ball to left field, going back on it, and that is a home run for Mike Trout. So a solo bomb to lead things off, and the strikeouts take an early 1-0 lead. My gosh. 1 second. Wow, so Keller puts himself in a bad position to lead things off, and it is quickly 1-0 strikeouts. He will face Cal Ripken. This will be a 5 versus 12. And that will be good enough for the advantage. Ripken will swing and miss for out number 1. Again, we just talked about how important innings are going to be for these starting pitchers, and especially getting a quality appearance will be very important. 5 versus 12 as the catcher, Yadier Molina, is up. It'll be his advantage. And Molina swings and misses on his own chart for out number 2. So Keller playing with fire a little bit there, but gets Molina out on his own chart. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Colton Cowser, 5 versus 12. And another advantage given up by Keller. Cowser will swing, and that is a deep fly ball to right field. Going back on it is Dave Martinez, and he will make the grab at the warning track. So after giving up the leadoff home run to Mike Trout and giving up 2 more advantages, Mitch Keller gets 2 guys in a row to be out on their own chart, and we will head to the bottom of the first inning. Strikeouts 1, Shiny Squad nothing. Six versus 12 as the speedy man Rajai Davis is up. That'll be advantage for Kikuchi. And Davis swings and misses as Kikuchi gets the first out of the inning. 6 versus 14 as the second baseman Jerry Coleman is up. And that will be an advantage to Coleman as we get our music going here. Or stadium sound. Advantage Coleman, and Coleman's swing is a single. So that'll be one on board with one out as the Wizard, Ozzie Smith, comes up to the plate. 6 versus 12. The pitch will be a 22 total. Ozzie's swing is a fly ball out to left field where somebody's under it. Oh, I forget who the left fielder is. Colton Cowser. And he will make the grab for 2 away. Six versus 12 as the catcher Benito Santiago is up, known for getting out on his own chart. He won't get out on his own chart, but he will get out on Kikuchi's as he swings and misses for out number 3. So Kikuchi does allow one on, but is able to get out of it with no damage done. Both pitchers with 2 strikeouts apiece so far as Mitch Keller comes back out. He will face the dangerous first baseman Bryce Harper. 5 versus 11. And a 20 total from Keller. Harper will swing and miss as he goes down on strikes for out number 1. 5 versus 12. Solano, the third baseman, is up. And a tie will go to Solano. And Solano's swing is a single, almost good enough for a double. And with one on and one out, it'll bring up the right fielder, Michael Toglia. 5 versus 10. Keller is set, and the pitch is a tie, which goes to Toglia. And, oh, man, I feel like Toglia has such a good chart, but he strikes out on his own chart for out number 2. And even though the strikeouts are winning, they probably feel a little bit disappointed as they have gotten 5 advantages already, and 3 of them have been outs. The DH, Nicky Lopez, is up. 5 versus 11. Keller is set. The pitch will be a 13, advantage Keller, and Lopez will swing and hit a hot line drive to the first baseman, Konerko, who hangs on for out number 3. So again, both pitchers have allowed a base runner each time they've been out on the mound, but so far the strikeouts are winning 1-0. Bobby Bonilla, the DH, comes up. He's been hitting better as of late. 6 versus 11 as Kikuchi is set, and the pitch is a 19 total. Bobby Bonilla will swing, and that'll be a leadoff single for the home team as Bonilla gets a pitcher's chart single. Now, here is where we always run into trouble because every time we're in this situation, we think, well, Konerko's base running is an 11. It's very bad. But every time it feels like we've allowed him to swing, he's got an advantage and a home run. Should he... He's one of the biggest power. You got to let him swing. Kikuchi doesn't have the biggest ground ball range either. We'll let him swing. 6 versus 11. You never know. And that is in between, so we will re-roll. That's what we've been doing this slate. Still advantage Kikuchi, so it doesn't matter. And, of course, it's a 10, so that's a ground ball. Bonilla is going to be out at second, and the throw is going to be over to first. 13 versus 14, so the only thing they can't have is a 1, and it's a double play. And an 8 is good enough as Konerko grounds into a double play for out numbers 1 and 2. So that is the danger of allowing him to swing with how slow he is, but he's also come up very clutch in the past. 6 versus 11. So Kikuchi will only have a 7, 1 against 1 batter, and that'll be the 9-hole hitter. And Willie Wilson swings and misses for out number 3. That is the third strikeout for Kikuchi. And we head to the top of the 3rd inning, 1-0. Keller is set to face the 9-hole hitter Gallego, and then back to the top of Trout and Ripken. 5 versus 10. And a 24 total, definitely good enough for the advantage. And Gallego hits a line drive over to the third baseman, Willie Bloomquist, who makes the grab for out number 1. Brings up the center fielder, Mike Trout, 5 versus 13. And Keller will get the advantage this time against Trout, and Trout just hits a weak ground ball over to the left side of the infield where the shortstop, who is the shortstop on this team? Oh, Ozzie Smith, duh. Will fire it over for out number 2, which brings up Cal Ripken Jr., 5 versus 12. A mistake pitch to Ripken. So Keller rolls a mistake pitch, and Ripken will smack a single out into left field. So a 2-out single for Ripken. And that'll bring up Yadier Molina, 5 versus 12. The pitch from Keller will be an 8 total, so advantage Molina. What will he do with it? Got an out last time on his own chart, and guess what? He's going to get an out again. The second out he's gotten on his own chart as he hits a ground ball for out number 3. So Keller is giving up a good amount of advantages and base runners, but they are getting themselves out. I feel like if that continues to happen, Keller will not be long for this game. Kikuchi will face the 8-hole hitter Bloomquist and then Martinez before we get back to the top. This will be 6 versus 11 and a 22 total. And Bloomquist swings and misses. Another strikeout for Kikuchi. He is definitely living up to the name. This will be a 7 versus 9. So it's either a mistake pitch or advantage Kikuchi. And it is advantage Kikuchi. Martinez will swing, and a fly ball out to right field will be caught by Taglia for out number 2. So with 2 outs, Rajai Davis comes up to bat, 6 versus 12. And a mistake to Davis, who does not hit for many extra bases. Let's see what he can do here. A 9 will be a single that he smacks into left field for a 2-out single. So both pitchers giving up a 2-out single, and the strikeouts have a 14 battery, but Kikuchi is dealing. Coleman doesn't really hit for extra bases unless it's a mistake. So Davis is going to try to take off. A 14 versus 25, and a perfect throw doesn't matter. And Yadier Molina guns down Rajai Davis for out number 3, and we will head to the top of the 4th inning, still 1-0 strikeouts. Feels like recently, a lot of these games, we've had maybe one run early on, and then it's just kind of stale for a lot of the game until about the 7th or 8th inning when things really start to get crazy. And maybe it'll just be a 1-0 game. Who knows? 4th inning is Keller will be up against the 4, 5, 6 hitters. 5 versus 12 as Cowser steps into the batter's box. Advantage Keller, and Cowser will hit a deep fly ball, but it will be caught at the warning track for out number 1 by the right fielder, Dave Martinez. 5 versus 11. Keller is set. He delivers to Harper, and a 9 will not be good enough for Keller. Harper's swing on his own chart is... Stop me if you've heard this one before. Another batter chart out for the strikeouts. Wow. Keller needs to be... He must have prayed extra this morning. The strikeouts have had 8 advantages. 5 of them have been outs. Unbelievable. Solano is up 5 versus 12, the third baseman. will not get the advantage, but his swing will be a fly ball out to left field. And Willie Wilson makes the routine grab, and Keller gets the strikeouts to go 1, 2, 3. And we'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. 2, 3, and 4 are due up for the Shiny squad as Jerry Coleman is up. This will be a 6 versus 14. Coleman with a single last time up, and he will get the advantage. And Coleman will watch as ball 4 crosses the plate, and he will be on as the leadoff man is aboard. That is the first walk allowed by either pitcher. That brings up Ozzie Smith. 6 versus 12. Kikuchi's pitch will be a tie to Ozzie Smith. And, oh my word. This is actually really annoying at this point, and Smith hits a fly ball on his own chart for out number 1. I'm not saying every advantage has to be a hit or a home run, but all these outs are just brutal. 6 versus 12. The catcher Santiago is in the plate, at the plate. 7 will be just enough, and that is a ground ball. Coleman will be thrown out at second for out number 2. This will be a 13 versus 21 as the exchange is tossed, and a 2 will allow Benito to be safe on a fielder's choice. So 2 outs for Bobby Bonilla, 6 versus 11. Bonilla is a dangerous hitter if he can gain the advantage. He won't here. And Bonilla's swing will be a line drive smoked at the third baseman who hangs on for out number 3. So nothing really going for either team. It feels like they've allowed a singular base runner a lot of these times to get on, but no damage done. And a large part of that is the fact that there's been so many batter chart outs. So far, through 4 innings, each team has 3 hits, and each pitcher has 4 strikeouts, so very similar. The only difference is the mistake pitch that Keller threw Mike Trout to lead off the game, and it is 1-0 still as a result. 5 versus 10 as the advantage goes to Keller, and Taglia's swing is a fly ball, routine out, 1 away. 5 versus 11 for Nicky Lopez. 1 out, nobody on. Advantage Keller. Lopez will swing and hit another fly ball out to right field, where Dave Martinez is under it and makes out number 2. 5 versus 10 for Mike Gallego, and that'll be a 14 total. Gallego will get a 20, so a 2-out single. And again, feels like this is kind of what keeps on happening. And that'll bring up Mike Trout. This is the Strikeouts' 3rd time through the lineup. Trout is 1 for 2 with the solo home run back in the first. 5 versus 13. Keller would love to get out of this to get the quality appearance, and he at least gets the advantage. The swing from Trout will be a line drive hit to the third baseman, Willie Bloomquist, who makes out number 3. So that does give Mitch Keller the quality appearance, and so his innings is bumped up to 7. Again, unless he allows 4 runs or 4 walks before then. But he is not allowed a walk yet and has only allowed 1 run, so he's on track for that. Kikuchi, on the other hand, is also set up pretty similarly. He will face Konerko, Wilson, and Bloomquist. 6 versus 11. Advantage Kikuchi with a 23, and Konerko will hit a fly ball out to left field, where Kowser has it for out number 1. Willie Wilson up next, 6 versus 11. So a lot of these batters, it's a 6 versus 11. They have a 25% chance of getting advantage, and Wilson will get an advantage here as Kikuchi only has an 8, and Bloomquist gets out on his own chart as he hits a pop-up to the shortstop for out number 2. Sheesh. Batter chart outs 2 in a row now for the Shiny squad, the last 2 advantages they've had. 6 versus 11 again, a 23 total again. And Bloomquist just rolls one over to the third baseman, Gallagher, who fires it over to first for out number 3. And Kikuchi gets the Shiny squad to go down 1, 2, 3. We head now to the top of the 6th inning, still 1-0. We are flying through this one. Both pitchers with the quality appearance. Ripken is 1 for 2 today. 5 versus 12. Advantage Keller, and Ripken hits a fly ball out to left field. Wilson is under it and makes the snag for out number 1. Molina is 0 for 2. He's had the advantage in both of his at-bats today. And Keller will get the advantage this time, and Molina will hit a line drive to Canerco at first for out number 2. Bringing up Colton Cowser, he is 0 for 2. 5 versus 12. Keller is locked in as Cowser hits a fly ball out to right field. Going back on it is Martinez. He keeps going back, but will make the grab, and Keller gets the strikeouts to go down 1, 2, 3. This is one of the best pitching performances. Again, a lot of batter chart outs from both sides, but Keller, after giving up 5 advantages in the first 2 innings, in the last 3, he's only allowed 1. Kikuchi has allowed 5 total advantages. 2 of them have been outs. 2 of them have been singles, and 1 of them was a walk. He faces the 9-hole hitter, Dave Martinez. Again, this is a 7 versus 9, so Martinez either needs a 1 or a 2, or he's going to have to get above a 16 to get on, and he will get a 17, which is a walk, and that is the second walk allowed by Kikuchi. So the leadoff man is aboard here as Rajai Davis comes up to bat. And normally you'd think about pinch hitting, or sorry, not pinch hitting, sacrifice bunting. But Davis has a lot of speed, so, and it's the top of the order. 6 versus 12, Davis is 1 for 2. The pitcher is set, he delivers a 24 total. And Davis will swing, and that is a fly ball for out number 1. As the left fielder, Colton Cowser, makes the grab. Coleman is 1 for 1. He's gotten the advantage both times he's been up to bat today. 6 versus 14. And a 21 is good enough for Kikuchi. Oh, and it was almost a 20, but Coleman will hit a ground ball. Martinez is thrown out at second for out number 2. The second baseman, Mike Gallagher, has it, and he's firing over to first. This will be a 13 versus 20. And Coleman grounds into a double play. And Kikuchi does allow the leadoff man aboard, but doesn't allow anything else as he sets them down and faces the minimum of 3 batters. We go to the top of the 7th. Strikeouts 1, Shiny squad nothing. Keller is out for probably his last inning of work here, especially in a close game. He will face the 5, 6, and 7 hole hitters. Harper on the day is 0 for 2. 5 versus 11, advantage Harper. And Harper with a 15 will actually get a leadoff double. Huge for the strikeouts as a 1-run game is not much, especially for the shiny squad. And we've seen a lot of lead changes in this league this season. Outfield will be in. It brings up the third baseman, Solano. He is 1 for 2. Outfield in, 5 versus 12. Keller is set. He delivers. 17 total. Solano's swing is a ground ball. And that'll be picked up, thrown over to first for out number 1. Now, I guess we could have tried to move Harper over to third. But with both teams having very good infields, it would have been a 12 versus 19. You don't want to risk that. Outfield remains in, 5 versus 10. Taglia's 0 for 2 today. He's gotten out on his own chart. Keller just barely gets the advantage. Taglia hits a line drive over to first base, and Konerko has it for out number 2. And that brings up Lopez, 0 for 2 today, 5 versus 11. Outfield remains in, and Keller is locked in. But a 19 is a pitcher's chart single. So Harper will go to third, Lopez to first, and they're going to wave Harper home because the 9-hole hitter most likely will not have a shot at it. This will be a 12 versus 22, so it is a 50-50 shot. And they will wave Harper home. The right fielder, Martinez, is up with the throw. 12 versus 22. And Harper is safe at home plate. And the strikeouts take a 2-0 lead. And that might be a huge, huge insurance run in this game that has not seen a lot of hits from either side. So a huge 2-out single for the DH, Nicky Lopez. Feels like we've seen a lot of very clutch RBI singles from the bottom of some of these teams' lineups recently. 5 versus 10, outfield back to normal. Keller gets the 20 total, and Gallego swings and misses for out number 3. And so that'll likely end Mitch Keller's day, and against a very solid squad. I mean, I know they're 1 and 2, but for having a lot of power that they have, Trout homering at 19, Ripken at 20, Molina can hit for extra bases, Kowser at 20, Harper at 19, Toglia at 19. I mean, that's a tall tale, so to only give up 2 runs through 7 innings is very solid for Keller. But they are in a 2-0 deficit as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Kikuchi will face Ozzie Smith, who's 0 for 2 today. 6 versus 12. And advantage Smith, who gets a 20, and that is a very long single as the leadoff man is aboard. Wow. Brings up Santiago, who is 0 for 2. 6 versus 12. Advantage Kikuchi, and Santiago swings and misses for out number 1. Now, if this was a 1-run game, they probably would have tried to sacrifice bunt Ozzie over, and they still could. But with the middle of the lineup, it's just hard to do that, especially with some power hitters up. 6 versus 11. Bonilla is 1 for 2 today. He would love to be able to do some damage here, but will Kikuchi give him the opportunity? He will not. Bonilla's swing, oh my word, is a ground ball. So Smith is out at second, which if you're wondering why we didn't steal, 14 versus 25 with the meat of your order coming up. And this will be a 13 versus 21. And Bobby Bonilla gets an inning-ending double play, and that's brutal because you wanted to get through some more hitters there so you could maybe get around to the top of your lineup again. And Kikuchi has gone 7 innings now and allowed 4 hits. So this brings us to the top of the 8th inning. Let's look at the bullpen situation for the shiny squad, and they will change pitchers because it is only a 2-run game. They haven't done much offensively. But again, anything can change, especially with teams wanting to be careful with their bullpens. And the big left-hander, Al Habrowski, will be called upon. Habrowski is a big lefty. He has a 6 command. And against lefties, it'll be 6. But against righties and switch hitters, he'll have an 8 command. He has 17 outs, 3 defense, and he can go 2 innings. So he'll most likely only go 1 regardless, so that way he can go 2 in the next game. Especially with your SP5 due up in the next game, which, again, most of the teams, their 5th starting pitcher is not very good. And he will face the top of the lineup for the strikeouts. It also makes sense because Trout is better against righties. Cowser is better against righties. So hopefully Habrowski can, well, in their minds, hopefully he can get through these first couple batters as they're a lot of righties. So this will be an 8 versus 11. Trout is 1 for 3 today. 8 versus 11. Advantage Al. Trout's swing is a 7, which is a ground ball. Over to the third baseman, Willie Bloomquist, who is up with it. And nope, the shortstop is Ozzie Smith. But regardless, Trout is thrown out at first for out number 1. Which brings up the shortstop, Cal Ripken. This will be an 8 versus 12. Ripken is 1 for 3. And a maximum pitch there for Al. And Ripken swings and misses for out number 2. Which brings up the catcher, Yadier Molina, who is 0 for 3 today. 8 versus 13. And a 22 total for Al. Molina's swing is a line drive over to the third baseman, Bloomquist, for out number 3. So Habrowski gets does his job and sits them down 1, 2, 3, the top of the lineup. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, 2-0 strikeouts. And the bullpen situation for the for the strikeouts, they would love to go to a lefty, but then he would be unavailable for the next game. They do have Fernando Rodney, but you don't want him to come out because these guys are all good against righties. Kikuchi could stay out and just have them roll the power die on his own chart. And he is going to come back out. I think that's the smart thing to do here. Or it's a thing to do. So Kikuchi will come out. Back out. So the home team, Shiny Squad, will get to use the power die every time, regardless of whose advantage it is. And they can pull Kikuchi whenever. 6 versus 11. Konerko is 0 for 2 today. Advantage Kikuchi. And Konerko swings and misses for out number 1. And sorry, Kikuchi loses a command, so it's 5. His base command is 5. So this will be 5 versus 11. Wilson's 0 for 2. 5 versus 11. And a mistake pitch regardless. Wilson swings, and that ball is going to the deep part of left field. It's going, and gone. So Willie Wilson with a home run, a 24, which even if Kikuchi wasn't in the game and someone else rolled the 1, it wouldn't have mattered. Wow. Now that begs the question, do they go to somebody else? I don't think so. They'll let him go. It's 5 versus 11 still, because these guys don't have a lot of power. That was also the idea. Advantage Kikuchi. Bloomquist will swing, and that is a fly ball. That goes out to left field for out number 2. And this will be 6 versus 9 because Kikuchi gets that +1 against lefties. 6 versus 9. Oops. And Martinez will swing, and oh my goodness, a 24. And Dave Martinez just ties the game up on a 24. Wow. That was the danger of leaving Kikuchi in, but he got the advantage 3 times. Who was to say that he was going to roll that again? Now they really have a problem. They'll go to the bullpen. They'll go to Fernando Rodney. Which, again, would he have done anything different? Who knows? He has a lower command. It would have been 4-5 versus 12 and 13 that whole time, so hindsight's 20/20. But Rodney will come in as Kikuchi exits after giving up 2 home runs this inning. Maybe that was dumb. Who knows? Fernando Rodney has had a very bad stretch so far in this 2025 SBL season. Base of 4 command. Against righties, he'll have a 5, 16 outs, -1 defense. He'll face Rajai Davis, who's 1 for 3, 5 versus 11. And he will get the advantage, and Davis's swing is a 19. So he allows a pitcher shard single. The battery is only 10 for the strikeouts, so he's going to go. 10 versus 25 on a perfect throw. Davis is gunned down for out number 3. And he has been caught stealing twice today. That'll end the inning. As we now have a tie ball game going into the top of the 9th. Oh, here's a hard decision. They're going to have to pull Al so he can go next game. And they will turn to the righty Edward Mujica. He has a 6 command, 18 outs, but a 1 through 3 mistake pitch range, 1 defense. He will face the 4, 5, and 6 hole hitters. First up is Colton Cowser. This will be 6 versus 12. Cowser is 0 for 3 today. 6 versus 12, advantage Edward. And an 8 is a ground ball for out number 1. First baseman Bryce Harper is up next. 6 versus 11. Harper is 1 for 3 as a double and a run scored. 24 total, and Harper hits a fly ball out to right field where Martinez is under it. Makes the routine catch for out number 2. And that'll bring up the third baseman Solano, who's 1 for 3. 6 versus 12, advantage Edward, and a 13 is a line drive, and so Mujica does his job and sets down the strikeouts 1, 2, 3. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Rodney is still good for 2 outs. It is 2-2. Rodney has blown these before. He will face the righty and Jerry Coleman. Coleman is 1 for 2. 5 versus 12. And advantage Coleman. And Coleman hits a single. And the leadoff man is aboard with nobody out. Now normally we would sacrifice bunt, but this is a 4 versus 14. So a 50-50 shot for Ozzie to get an advantage. 4 versus 14. Ozzie Smith does get the advantage. That is in between, so we've been re-rolling those. And, of course, whenever I do that, this is actually a ground ball, so Coleman's going to be thrown out at second base. 13 versus 22. This would be a huge turn of a double play. 13 versus 22, and it's a tie, which goes to Ozzie Smith. So a fielder's choice. The battery is a 10, so Ozzie Smith is going to try to take off and go for second. He's going to try to swipe. This will be a 10 versus 25, and Smith is in there. Which brings up Santiago. The outfield will move in. There's one out. Ozzie Smith's base running is a 19, so not the best. 5 versus 12. Rodney's pitch will be a 16 total, and Santiago will get a single. Oh boy, and do we have decisions to make. So the outfield in, this would be an 11 versus 19. And with one out and Bonilla up, they're going to allow Bonilla to swing. And on the double play, it'd be 13 versus 21. So the outfield's in, infield is regular for the chance to turn a double play. 4 versus 12. Bonilla is 1 for 3. 4 versus 12. Advantage Rodney. And Bonilla will hit a ground ball. So this is going to be the game or extra innings. Santiago is thrown out at second for out number 1. Ozzie Smith is going home. So if Bonilla is safe, it will be a walk-off. 13 versus 21. The throw over to first is a 23 total. So Bonilla hits an inning-ending double play, and we are going to extra innings. Should they have sent on an 11 versus 19? Probably not. Again, difference of 8. This was a difference of 8. Same thing regardless. But this is where it's going to get hairy, is now both teams, as we head to extra innings, will need to go to their already tired bullpens. So the shiny squad bullpen will turn to Drew Smiley, who will now be unavailable for the next game. Smiley's a big lefty, 16 outs, 6 command, 1 to 2x range. And he will face the 7, 8, and 9 hole hitters of the strikeouts. And we do have the runner on second. So Solano will be on second, a base running of 18. This will be a 6 versus 12. Outfield is in. 6 versus 12. Great pitch from Smiley. Couldn't ask for better. And a single, of course, to lead things off. And again, with an outfield of 12 versus 18, they're going to hold Solano there. And the strikeouts are going to go to their bench to look for a new DH. And that DH is going to be Brian De La Cruz. So Lopez comes out of the game. The new DH will be Brian De La Cruz. And he will have an 11 on base against lefties. Infield and outfield in. Drew does not have a lot of room for mistakes here. 6 versus 11. He does get the advantage, and De La Cruz, that's in between, will swing, and back-to-back pitchers, short hits, will bring in a run. And the strikeouts will be up 1-0, or sorry, 3-2. Gallego is the second baseman. They will pinch hit for him. It'll be Al Newman. So I just got to put that in. Newman will stay in at second base. Actually, you know what? Should they just... Actually, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to bunt with Gallego because he has a better infield defense. He has a 4, whereas Newman would only have a 2. So Gallego will try to sacrifice bunt. Needs a 13 or higher. First attempt is no good. Second attempt is right on the money, so he will sacrifice bunt, sending Toglia over to third. De La Cruz to second. That will be out number 1, but it does bring up the top of the order for the strikeouts. Infield and outfield in. 6 versus 11. Smiley is set. And the pitch, oh no, is a mistake. And Trout will swing, and that's a deep fly ball to left field. Going back on it is Wilson, and he's going to turn around and look at it. Home run for Mike Trout, his second of the game. And Drew Smiley gives up a huge mistake pitch home run as Trout clears the bases. And just like that, it is 5. Oh no, I did the wrong button. Boop, boop, boop. The strikeouts hit a home run, so they should now have six runs. It should be 6-2. Apologies on that, I hit the wrong one. 6-2. Smiley's going to stay in the game, 6 versus 12, and the Kikuchi decision so far does not come back to bite them as Ripken just rolls the ball over to third base for out number 2, which brings up Molina, 6 versus 13. Advantage Smiley. And Molina will hit another ground ball for out number 3. And Smiley really did his job. He only gave up 1 advantage, but unfortunately for him, also, we've just rolled really high on the power die today. That's been kind of fun. And now here's where we have the interesting decision for the strikeouts. They're up by 4. It will be the 6, 7, and 8 hole hitters. And they don't have any bullpen options, really. So they will turn to a punt. Who is it good against the right-handers? Dave Otto is, but there will be... They can pull him fast. So they will turn to Dave Otto. He's a punt merchant. Can the Shiny Squad battle back to retie this game? I'm not sure that they will be able to, but we will see. Otto will face Canerco. It'll be a 2 versus 11. We do need a runner on second. It will be Bonilla. 2 versus 11. Canerco is 0 for 3 today. A 19 total from Otto is solid, but a 16 will be a walk for Canerco. Nobody out, 2 on. This will be a 2 versus 11 for Willie Wilson. And a 6 total gives Wilson the advantage. Oh, shocker. Wilson will hit a ground ball. So Bonilla moves to third. Canerco's out at second. This will be a 13 versus 25. And Wilson will be safe on the fielder's choice. But again, if you wanted your team to do something here, the Shiny Squad are not pulling through in the late innings. 2 versus 11. Another advantage for Bloomquist, and Bloomquist will get a 17, which is a single, so that'll bring in a run. So the Shiny Squad do get one back. And that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Martinez. Martinez is 1 for 2. 1 versus 9. 19 total for Otto, which is fantastic. And a 6 is a ground ball. So Wilson will be safe at third. Bloomquist is out at second, and this will be a 13 versus 22. This would be a huge inning-ending double play. What did I say, 13 versus 22, and that will be the ball game as they get a double play to end the game. And the Shiny Squad drop to 1-3 as the comeback falls short. Wow. What a game that was pretty boring for the large majority, but it turned into a decently solid game overall. So the Strikeouts will take a 6-3 lead or win over the Shiny Squad, which is huge for them because I believe they started the season 0-2. That is huge. And what a game we saw from these two squads. That was 1-0 for a large part of the game, turned into 2-0. Which then allowed the Shiny Squad to crawl back into it. And Dave Otto kind of got out of some danger there and really only allowed the Manfred runner to score, which was not a big deal. It would have been interesting to see if they had to keep going against the top of the lineup, what they would have done. But it was 2 outs, but you didn't want to take any chances. And as we look to the end of the game here and the final score, we have Mike Trout with the player of the game. He went 2 for 5, hitting 2 home runs, 4 RBI. Drew Smiley will pick up the loss. I believe Fernando Rodney already blew a game this year, so he will be 1-1 on the season now. And this league is getting extremely interesting as we have the Bash Bros at 3-1, leading the league. In second place at 2-2, we have the Broad Street Bats with a positive of 19 in the run differential category. In third place is the Clean Cleats with a +3. The Strikeouts will improve to fourth place as they have a -2. The Base Bandits are 2-2, but they have a -8. And then the Shiny Squad are 1-3. And they've actually scored the third most runs in the league, but they've allowed the second most. So that's what's been the biggest bugaboo for them. But as we go into the week 5, it'll be madness and chaos as these teams will all have their 5th starting pitchers going. So expect to see a lot of punt players and pitchers in these ones. It's going to be wild. Hopefully you guys tune in, and we will see you next time as we head out from here. Strikeout 6, Shiny Squad 3.